Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
We are live. And welcome to my Twitch channel. I'm Vox Sinistra, and you're tuned in to my very first interview here on Twitch with a special guest with us today. We have Kota Kira, currently based in Seattle, and we are going to chat for a bit. And then we're going to listen to her complete new record on Remission Entertainment called The Netherworld Beckons. So you'll definitely want to stick around. I imagine this will take about 2 hours tonight. And if you miss part of it, we'll also have it up later as a VOD. But if you have questions as well during the interview, feel free to chime in the chat. We want this to be an interactive thing where everyone can participate. So if you've got anything, feel free to let us know in the chat. And it's also a special night because we'll be doing a giveaway with Remission Entertainment, which is the label Kota Kira is on. And indeed, the label, this release, The Netherworld Beckons, is on. I have a few different prize options. If you'll go to my channel points options in the chat, um, labeled as Roses in a Cage, for those of you who are new here. And you'll be able to use your channel points to uh, enter the giveaway. So that is exciting stuff. There's a few different options in there, different shirt and music options, and they both also come with buttons and stickers, including a Kota Kira button. And yeah, so that's exciting stuff. I also have free digital Bandcamp giveaways of Kota Kira's previous releases on Bandcamp. Um, so you'll definitely want to check that out as well. And for that, just send me a DM. That's not actually through the channel points. So yeah, that's how tonight is working. And a big thanks to you all for tuning in. Uh, this is a fun techno experiment, and I'm hearing myself with a delay now. So I guess I'm just not going to hear myself talk, and that's going to be fine. All right. Without further ado, I am going to get started with the interview portion of the night, and then we are going to get into the listening party. So, yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Uh, Kota Kira, dark, mystical, witchy, tantalizing, alluring. This is the foundation for Kota Kira, who prefers to stick to a vibe instead of boxing herself into one genre. She calls this vibe occult dance music. Based out of Seattle, originally from the Florida Panhandle, Kota Kira is a DJ and producer making her own mark in the dark dance world. Kota Kira takes a wide range of influences, ranging from extreme metal to dark techno, creating an atmosphere unlike anything experienced before. Combining an alluring atmosphere, filthy bass lines, and ominous, haunting vocals, the Netherworld Beckons transports you to a place she likes to call the Netherworld, where demons come out to play. Creatures of the netherworld, called the temptresses, lure you in with your deepest, darkest desires, just as a siren calls to an unsuspecting sailor. Once in the netherworld, one must learn to dance with their demons and face their true self, or the temptresses will feast upon their flesh and soul. Can you resist temptation, or will the intensity bring you to your knees? So that is a nice little intro to Kota Kira for us to set the mood. And we are going to get into things here with our first question. Kota Kira, you recently moved to Seattle, right? Uh, what brought you here and where did you move from?
Honestly, I visited here once and went to a really awesome concert. I really like the music scene, like the weather, really hate the sun. So, and it's like this perfect city that has like a really good metal scene and a really good like goth scene and a really good dance scene, and that's like rare for those three to come together like that.
What are your initial perceptions of Seattle versus Florida?
Yeah, this is a big difference, right? The weather is much better here, in my opinion, and I have to say the people are nicer, and but that's also I consider a nice person someone that like doesn't talk to me, right? So, um, yeah, I like it
I
better
guess
here.
goths have different standards for that.
They definitely do. They definitely do. So if you like people talking to you and asking how your day is, go move to Florida. Yeah,
It's always sunny in Florida, maybe.
always. Yeah, and the
Always.
humidity. You go to take out the trash and you'll just have to take another shower. It's the worst.
Yeah, probably lots of bugs too, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
swamp
yeah. I
bugs.
didn't know it wasn't normal to have like humongous ass fucking bugs and snakes just all over your yard all the time. Like no other state has that really.
Yeah, I think we're pretty like hashtag blessed here for lack of bugs. I mean, we have like huge, like dangerous poisonous spiders, uh, but they're not super common.
Yeah, there's
We're
no
we're
like
pretty good on
venomous
like
snakes
flying
either.
insects though.
There's no rattlesnakes in the city I hear, which that's nice. Yeah, lots of rattlesnakes in Florida.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a snake here. Maybe.
Hmm,
I think we have like little garden snakes sometimes.
I can see that.
I don't hang out much in the wilderness. Spoiler alert. I stick within my Capitol Hill grounds.
That's where it's at, anyways. Yeah.
um, cool. Well, are you enjoying Seattle then so far?
Oh hell yeah, I love it. Best city in America, hands down. I love it so much.
Nice. That's a strong reaction. What makes you say it's the best city?
There's like barely any fucking sun. Like it fucks off, right? That's what I want. Yeah. I really
I
hate the sun.
respect that.
Yeah.
I live here for a reason, and definitely part of it is the weather.
Yeah, it's the best.
I mean, some people definitely don't like it because of the weather, but I am not one of those people. I would also like the sun to stay far away from me.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so enough weather talk here, although that is fun. Uh, what is your favorite show you've been to here so far?
Yeah, when I moved here, it was like nothing was really open, right? The past couple months, places have started to open up again. Recently, though, I went to Crumwork and I saw Lindsay Herbert, which is a friend of mine, and she actually remixed one of my tracks before. She did a set at Crumwork, and it was the best. It's the best. That's the best show I've been to so far. And I think Cold X opened up too. Like that was just a full night of just like good techno, right? So that's rare to get in America. It is.
Yeah, totally. It can be definitely like sort of select pockets of the underground. You get like really worthwhile stuff, and then other than that, it's just kind of like all sounds the same. Just big
Yes.
room, like thump thump, like. Yeah, I definitely get burned out on that sort of culture a lot. I mean, I guess what you could say what I do is like very underground, right? There's a reason for that. We like to keep it here
Yeah.
underground.
Things are better in the underground, right? Yeah.
Nice. So you haven't played any shows here so far. We actually, so we actually had a show scheduled that was unfortunately canceled because, all the crazy COVID stuff came up and um yeah, it was like someone in one of the bands tested positive for it, COVID.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then you had to
And
change venues, and then we had to change the lineup, and yeah.
yeah, it was like literally everything with the. Oop, I'm changing things around back here uh, on the screen. If people are noticing things change on the screen. That's my doing. But yeah, it was like okay, so one of the bands canceled. Someone tested positive for COVID, and then it was like we had to change the venue because there were weird things going on there, and then um, we had to. Uh, There we go. Now we have more gold sparkles. I'm trying to get this
Sweet.
ugly Zoom border out of the situation. Anyway, yeah, and then it was like something else happened. Oh, the touring band canceled
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
whole tour like 2 days before, after I had like hand changed all of these flyers. It was, throwing shows right now is just kind of, it's like it's good to try. It's good that we're getting back into things, but I guess I'm not surprised that it hasn't been met with like 100% success rate. A lot of things can go wrong right now, and already with throwing shows. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Are you still
it will
throwing them?
come. Yeah, so I kind of took like a little bit of time off. Hey, now you're interviewing me. What's going on here? That's not how this is supposed to work. Uh, yeah, so I took like a month or so off basically to transition my life into full-time DJ everything. So I'm actually going to be on this channel a lot more now, which will be fun for me. And I will be kicking up my IRL DJing again here as well. But I'm like,
Sweet.
what's happening with this new variant? Like, there's all this new paranoia, and I'm just like, who knows even really what anyone is supposed to do at this point. There we go. Now we've got double sparkles instead of the Zoom border
Sweet.
hacked.
All about
All
the
right.
sparkles.
All right. Yeah, but to answer your question, my my next show is scheduled currently for next month, January 14th, with Diavol Strain from Chile. They're
Mm.
like a sort of anarchist feminist, like post-punk band, goth rock band. Anyway, enough about me. Uh, Kota Kira was going to play one of my shows. It would have been the first show here in Seattle, but we are working on getting another one going now. All right. I'll be sure to let you all know when that happens. And I can't wait for it now that I am also, again, doing shows again.
Oh yeah.
um, all right. And your favorite shows at Kremwork. Kremwork, if you all don't know, is a great underground electronic space, very queer friendly, very uh, subterranean, literally, sort of dungeon esque, and also has an adjoining venue called Timber Room that I guess is less dungeon esque because it's not downstairs. But anyway, uh, cool venues here in Seattle, in case you wanted to know. Uh, thanks for following, Ida Lovelace. Uh, we'll be
Oh hi,
hearing
Ida.
about the track that this person collaborated with Kota Kira on later. Uh, thanks for being here, Black Agent, a great Seattle industrial band. J9 Grooves, hello. Uh, all right. If you have any questions in the chat throughout or want us to elaborate on anything, feel free to drop us a line in the chat. And yeah, cool. This is interview number 1 here, and I'm excited to get this going here on Wednesdays. The times will be varying from our guests from America to, or I guess American adjacent time zones, South America as well, Canada. But so those will be during the evening time, Pacific time, so 7 p.m. Pacific, most likely for all of my guests in this sort of time zone range. And everyone else who's in a later time zone will be earlier on in the afternoon on Wednesdays. So just a heads up for those of you following my channel, I will be doing the interviews on here regularly now. And also there'll be a lot of interviews with upcoming guests on Strict Tempo as well. So we'll have some interviews with Strict Tempo guests like the night before. So we'll get to talk about their music and kind of get like the behind the scenes scoop into things. And then we will get to hear them play the next day. So yay, expanding the Strict Tempo verse. All right. And if you
I
missed
love
Kota
that.
Kira's Strict Tempo set, it's on my YouTube channel. It's on the Strict Tempo pages on a SoundCloud and Mixcloud, some awesome dark techno stuff. And if you're here, you're probably into that, right? All right. Cool. And just a reminder also, we're doing a giveaway in the chat. In the channel points, you can check out the Remission Entertainment giveaway for merch from Kota Kira's label. And we also have free downloads for Kota Kira's previous releases on Bandcamp, and you can just DM me if you want those. All right. So my next question. So you've been in some previous musical projects. Do you want to tell us about those?
Yeah, I have. It's still ongoing, and I have another project. It's called Kira, Dekira. Not too different from Kota Kira, right? It's a it was a three-piece black metal band, but now it's just me since I moved. But yeah, we have like a full-length album out right now, and I'm actually working on the next album. Recording starts next month, I think. Yes, January. I start hitting the studio for that. Um, yeah, that originally started as like a three-piece in North Carolina, and I'm really deep in the extreme metal scene over there. Like I love black metal and death metal. Um, yeah, and I just we wanted to make like American dillbilly black metal, but you know, the other people in my band were pretty brutal and stuff, but like I kept wanting to do like I wanted to make black metal that's appeals to more like my feminine side and like to the queer community because there's really not a good space for that in black metal, so that's kind of what I'm doing with that. But I have a suspicion that a lot of these metalheads out there are secretly queer because as soon as I transition, a lot of them start messaging me like, "Hey, I've always felt this way too," and I'm like, "Why?" Like all my friends, they kind of feel similarly, but they don't know I'm the only one, right? So it's got to be common, right? So I imagine there's an audience for that. There's got to be a good queer space for this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I wouldn't say that I traditionally think of that as being a part of like the metal culture. So it's definitely a great path to carve out, because it deserves to have that scene within. I mean, all musical subcultures really should be friendly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I think there's a lot of weird political stuff in certain subgenres of metal.
Yeah,
I, I'm
it's
I'm
yes,
not
yeah.
gonna claim to be some kind of metal expert. Honestly, I've never really been super into it, or like I've only really researched it enough to write about like metal bands when I was doing like music journalism for The Stranger, which is Seattle's alternative weekly. But yeah, I know there's some sketch stuff going on with the isms there.
Oh yeah, and they're like, it seems like yeah, there's a lot of like there's kind of like a lot of like pro-fascism people. But the thing is like all the big festivals and all this stuff they're really like banning these bands and the people that are associated with those bands. Every other band they're like banning them. So the community as a whole is like pushing them away, right? So, but yeah, like
That's good.
especially in the South, like you would go to a show and someone would be all like, "Oh, you're white. Do you want to come to my KKK meeting?" And you're like, "Is this for real? What?" Like,
Oh my God,
yeah, it's just like
I'm
they're
not
like out in
prepared
the
for that
open about it.
interaction.
Yeah, yeah. That's one reason why I moved out of the South. But I love the South though. I
Wow,
just wish there was a little bit more
like
queer
like
friendly, right?
that. I mean, has something like that like literally happened to you in Florida?
Oh, people asking me to come to the KKK meetings. Yeah, all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they just act
Okay.
like it's casual. I'm like, why
Here's
did
where
you
I
think
feel
this
like
is like what?
sheltered.
It's so weird. It's so
Hmm.
weird. Yeah.
That's concerning. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
not that I wasn't aware of like the prevalence of racism in certain geographical areas in the country, but it's it's not as prevalent here, at least like on a really like outward level. It's we have a lot of rural areas where those ideas exist a lot still. We're kind of like in a super haven here in our urban realm, and even that is
Yeah.
getting less and less progressive. But that's for another rant. Um, yeah. Anyway, so you're coming from sort of a metal background. So what brought you into electronic music?
Um, yeah, I used to really hate it. Like, I used to think it was the worst thing ever. Honestly, I used to be like this elitist metalhead. But uh, I had a friend who taught me how to spin fire, and I got really into that. And he showed me the kind of music he spun fire to, and he took me some of those events, and they were like raves. And it took me hearing that music, like electronic music, especially like I'm super into EDM, like hearing that music live kind of changed my whole perspective on electronic music as a whole. Because it's a lot different. Like once you experience, the atmosphere for that. And I've just been hooked ever since then. That was when I was like 18, and I started getting paid to spin fire on the on the little music festivals they throw at the beach, and we get like uh those parties are crazy. Like I'm not sure if you've heard of like Excision or anything like that, but he's like a really big artist in the dubstep world. He used to come to my hometown and play these like small beach parties, and I used to get paid to like spin fire. So I would be listening to like all this crazy dubstep and stuff, and I just got addicted.
It's awesome. So people are often surprised when I defend dubstep or that I have like positive opinions about it because I mean it's not really what I play normally, right? It's kind of like outside of that realm. But dubstep, in case people were wondering, actually began as an underground movement in the UK in like the mid to or like early 2000s. Sort of like the golden era for me was the late 2000s, right when I was in college. I got pretty into it as well. Uh, but it's like the hyperdub stuff is what I listened to at the time. Once Skrillex kind of entered the picture in like it was like 2012, it kind of it entered the mainstream a bit too much
Hmm.
for me, and I kind of stopped paying attention to it. But dubstep isn't a dirty word for those of you out
Yeah.
there who are like dubstep. That's like not what I'm into. You should check out some of the earlier stuff if you want an in to the sound, like Burial and yeah, that early hyperdub stuff. For my listeners out there, in case you want to know, I do approve of some dubstep, not the Skrillex kind, but that's me. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like one of those things you really gotta like hear it in person because it takes like a big ass bass amp to really appreciate that genre. I feel like.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, a lot of things are much, much different in a live setting and so much dependent on that atmosphere and mood versus a recording. Like you can only get so much through a recording, whereas, you have
Hmm.
the complete vibe of everyone around you and how they react to the music as well and that relationship to build on. Yeah, cool. So can you tell me about fire? Is it fire spinning you said?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to spin fire poi. Well, I still do, but yeah, yeah. It's like you just get two balls and put them on chains, right? And then you light them on fire and spin them. It's kind of hard to explain without showing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had known about this before. I would have demanded some
No,
fire
yeah.
on screen, pyrotechnics. We need, yeah.
I should put more of that stuff
I
on
wouldn't
my
have done
like
that, but
YouTube and stuff because I'm
I
actually like
I'm
I'm not too
interested.
bad at it. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of like stuff that they do at like Burning Man, sort of like
Hmm.
or
Yes.
or
Yeah,
just
like
like
that.
any like electronic festival. You'd have like people with hula hoops and like sort of like performing. That's
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Flow. It's a type of flow
like
art
it's like
which all those
sort of
things go under, right?
okay. Yeah, totally. I need to know more about this fire. All right. I've clearly been going to the wrong parties. Not enough fire. All right.
I agree.
Well,
There's never enough fire.
unless okay, it depends. If you're in an outdoor space, like in a big outdoor, festival kind of zone, and like you know what you're doing and it's controlled. This is where I have to go full on mom mode and be like, do not try this at home, because fire can
Yeah.
definitely bring a lot of danger into the situation too. Um, I was at a punk show on Capitol Hill years ago at the space that has since closed, but some people were just like setting off firecrackers. And this is like a low ceiling. There's like dangling. It's like kind of janky inside. That's inappropriate. I definitely went like full on mom mode on them. Was like, you have to stop. Like, this is a fire hazard. But
It sounds like a punk
what you're
show.
doing, what you're doing sounds fine. I was like 26 or something at the time, so I'm like, you
I would have
kids.
been freaking out too. I would have left. I'm like, hell no.
No, I
I,
mean, that's
I
not the
was at
word, but
some weird punk show like that before.
I wasn't a
It was
teenager or
like
anything.
someone's basement, and then the guy was like, "Hey, we can go upstairs in the living room, and y'all can do whatever you want. Just like don't break the windows." And they had all his furniture. They were like throwing out the window. They did exactly what he said not to do. Like those punk shows are the craziest. If you want to go to someone's house and just break shit, just go to a punk house show. That's all you gotta do.
I definitely laid down the law when I like in my early 20s, like when I was in college, I threw a lot of DIY punk shows.
Mm.
I lived at Healthy Times Fun Club, which is sort of like a legendary DIY space for a while. It started as like the sister venue to the Black Lodge, which is still running. I'm like, yes, Black Lodge, never close. But yeah, I guess it's been closed for 10 years now, Healthy Times. But yeah, I was at another house venue in the U District for a while, and there was this one show where this guy kept on like trying to have his like one person mosh pit in the middle of our living room. And I just had to like lay down the law. I was like, dude, like there is a time and place for this, and this is not it. It was like a small space. There's like 10 people like just surrounding the perimeter of him as he like thrashes about like wildly.
Oh
It's like
my god.
no one else is participating. Like, what is the point of this? And then the confrontation that happened afterwards, I'll remember forever because he was basically just like just confronting me about not being punk enough. He was like, "You don't
Oh my god.
understand. Like, you don't even know what punk is. Like, I'm super punk. Like, you don't know." And I was like, this was at like my peak of like punkness. Also, I was like,
Okay.
I had like leather jackets I like pulled out of the dumpster and like put together with duct
Oh,
tape and
you're doing it.
like safety pins and all of that. Uh, I had my like Zounds pins holding things together. It
Nice.
was like
Okay.
pretty like anarcho style. Yeah. Anyway, anyway, I was the epitome of punk, and like my radio show was like John Peel. Anyway, this guy does not know what punk is.
Hell no.
But back to you. Back to you. I'm good at rambling. Okay, so your previous musical projects is kind of turned into from a metal three piece to a metal solo project, and it's called just Kira. You said
Oh, Dakira.
Kira.
Dekira. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
gotcha.
put it in the chat.
Yes, please. Yeah, you can. If you have any recordings up there, please link us to them.
Okay,
But
yeah. You definitely do
yeah,
that.
so how have those projects also influenced your current work?
Oh, it's been, yeah. 1 second. I'm putting this link in the chat for everyone. Um, Here you go. I do have an album, and if you live in Europe, it's cheap shipping. If you don't live in Europe, it's not cheap shipping. I'm really sorry, but if anyone's in Seattle though, or if anyone wants an American copy, just message me and I'll sign it. I got like 10 copies left here, but yeah, I put a link to the Bandcamp page for Dakira. Um, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
How have your previous projects, like your metal projects, influenced your current work?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. When I started Kota Kira, I really, really wanted to kind of take that epic feeling I get at like a black metal show where I feel like I'm conquering my demons. I wanted to bring that to like a rave atmosphere, right, and just kind of throw in all this goth stuff, and that's kind of how Kota Kira was created. And if you like some of the first songs I did, like Witchcraft, you can hear in there like I think there's some blast beats, there's some uh, there's a lot of like kind of black metal style guitar mixed into a lot of my tracks actually. You'd be surprised. It mixes in really well. It adds a lot of atmosphere. I like it. And I actually ended up reusing a lot of samples. Like I sampled my own album for my whole like Kota Kira album. That was kind of cool. Like you can, there's like little, like I think I did something with my vocals in like every single one of those. Like there's some screams of mine that I kind of like distorted and did something weird. I have to say though, like, um, with black metal especially, just like the atmosphere, like atmosphere is everything to me. And I kind of took that whole atmosphere concept that they did with black metal, and tried to bring that to electronic music.
Seems like you're kind of like operating at the crossroads of a lot of different things. So, what would you say your overall musical influences are? It seems like it's kind of like a mixture of like metal and EDM primarily, but I'll allow you to talk about that.
Um, yeah, it's kind of like it's like if you take you know techno or hard techno, right? Hard techno industrial music, and you mix that with black metal atmosphere, and then you throw in some dubstep in there. That's kind of what you get, and then you just approach that from like the lens of like mystical, ominous, witchy vibes, right? That's kind of what I was going for. Like I really wanted to be like when I first started Kota Kira, I believe it or not, I was actually like future bass. Which looking back at that, I don't know. Like I made one future bass song and it was called Daydreamer, and then I actually made this with this one girl who's a hip hop artist. We were trying to we made that song and then we realized we're no longer daydreaming about being releasing music. We just released our song and it's called Daydreamer. So then I immediately like started making music I wanted to make, and that's kind of like I approached it with like I'm into so many genres and really couldn't pick one, so I was like, fuck this. I'm just gonna make my own genre so that I can just do whatever I want, and that's kind of what I did with Kota Kira. I just wanted to focus on a vibe, and I kind of picked like 5 keywords that I would focus on, and I've just stuck to that this whole time.
Oh, what are these 5 keywords?
Yeah, it's dark, mystical, ominous, witchy, and alluring, right?
Oh,
Alluring can be
nice.
switched
Yeah.
out with tantalizing. It's kind of the same thing. I kind of wanted, like, I want people to feel like they're getting lured into the dance floor, like a siren draws in a sailor, right? Then once they're there, they're in what I like to call the netherworld. That's my dance floor. And kind of I want my music to make them feel like they're dancing with their demons and they can feel the intensity. And through that intensity, they're going to have to face their own true self, or like, they're not going to have a good time, or the temperatures are going to devour their flesh and soul, right? So it's kind of like, I don't really care if they're on their knees or not. I'm just going to keep playing music. That's kind of like the whole like atmosphere I want to bring, like have on my shows, right? Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, so it brings me into my next part was describe your music, but you just did a great job of doing that. So you prefer just not to use genres, or, since you threw out a few different inspirations from genres, but uh, definitely creating your own genre is the way to be always. So, and you picked 5 words to describe them. I was going to ask you to pick 3 words, but you've got 5, which is totally
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
um, so it seems like there's sort of like this concept of this record. Like, I don't know if you want to call it like a concept album. Like, I mostly think of like the like 70s big like prog bands releasing
Oh,
like
yeah.
concept albums. There's like
Those
space
are
operas or
ridiculous.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but it seems like you definitely have a concept here. We might be able to call it a concept album, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's definitely
But
like
do you
story
want to talk about
driven.
the more about the concept or like the story of like the temptresses? Like you kind of just explained it a little bit, but like where are you in this netherworld? Like are you like the head figure, like, or like, yes. Please explain this
Well,
netherworld a little bit more to us.
Well, with the Netherworld, it's kind of like like all the images of me in the Netherworld. It's kind of like me going through it, right? So kind of like, yeah, with this, the Netherworld is supposed to kind of represent, kind of like your own personal hell, right? So it's supposed to be kind of like where you would go to this place, and to get there, right? There's these creatures called the Temptresses, and they would kind of lure you in with your like dark temptation, with your darkest, like, your dark self that you're ignoring. It's kind of like shadow work in some ways, right? So then they lure you in there with a false sense of security, just like a siren. And once you're there, you're like in their world, and that world's called the Netherworld. And then you have to face all your fears, just everything that you've been denying about yourself this whole time. For me, it was the fact that I'm a woman. Like, I've been denying that this whole fucking time. So that was my Netherworld, right? And I had to accept my true self, or I like my alternative is a life of misery. So that's kind of where the concept, like that's like the whole concept, and I kind of like started just writing stories, and then I started telling like these stories through songs. So almost most of the songs on the album, maybe like 2 or 3 don't, but most of them have an actual like story that I wrote to it, and I'll tweak the story as I'm writing the song, so that I kind of have like an idea, like a music video, kind of going on in my head, that I can like tell this story with the music. And almost every song is like kind of supposed to be have this kind of false sense of security, followed by some kind of like like a dance with seduction turned sinister vibe. So kind of like I just kind of want to create this whole world that was like unique, and like I've been obsessed with sirens and this concept since I was like a kid. I used to write songs about sirens actually when I was like 11. So this is like something I've always wanted to do.
Cool. So I'm having a little bit of an issue with Zoom right now. So I'm actually going to play your first track and I'm going to restart our meeting and
Okay,
send you another invite. Yeah, our
let's do it.
faces are a smidge frozen.
Oh
So yeah,
shit.
just 1 second here. We're gonna get into a preview of the track play by play now with The Netherworld Beckons, the first track.
Inside a dream is where I hide and draw you in to give you life.
Hey everyone, sorry about that. This is my first experiment with Zoom and OBS. It turns out it's kind of complicated, but we're figuring things out. And this will be a regular news series on my Twitch channel on Wednesdays, and the times will vary depending on whether my guest is based in Europe or elsewhere, or basically on their time zone. So yeah, that was the first. We got like a little sneak preview. I meant to do the interview completely first and then get into the music, but we're kind of breaking it up a little bit now. That was a little sneak preview of the first track from Kota Kira's record, The Netherworld Beckons, indeed, the title track. Do you have anything you want to tell us about that track right now?
Oh, yeah, that's. I want to say someone just asked a question in the chat, Cali Girl 14. They said, what track in your new album makes you feel like the baddest witch? Definitely this track. I think this is like my favorite track I've ever made. Um, I worked with Villa on this, and it was, we were going for that Chelsea Wolf meets like, dark electronic music, and, I think we nailed it, and it was a lot of fun working with Villa. Honestly, she like totally nailed it. I asked her to do something and like to sing it a certain way, and she's like, "No, that's not what you want." And then she sent me this, and I was like, "Damn, this is too good." And usually I get like my vocalists too to send me like a bunch of like whispers and crazy laughs. I tell them to send me just like sound like they're just crazy, right? And then you can hear it in the bridge of that song. I took a lot of whispers and laughs, and I like put them in there, and I call them kind of like my spooks. So that's where I'm spooking things
perfect.
up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great touch. I like that you specifically solicit them from your vocalists. Like,
Oh yeah.
I need whispers and laughs, but yeah, it fits the vibe perfectly. Cool. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about other stuff for a minute, and then we're going to continue listening to the album and have Kota Kira let us know some backstory on each track. That's going to be fun. Yeah, so I guess you talked about this just now a little bit, but who are the collaborators you worked with on the record?
There's so many people, especially like ones that didn't necessarily like that helped out with the album and necessarily appear on the album, right? But you know, I worked with some awesome vocalists. Like I think the first one I worked with was Siri. She reached out to me on Instagram before I even had like I put like a 10-second preview of Witchcraft, and she was like, "Hey, I like that. You want to do a song together?" And then we did like Candlelight, right? So. Also, Ida Lovelace. She's a really wonderful friend now. She's awesome. But we just met. We had the same vocal teacher, right? So same singing teacher, and she connected us, and now we're like best friends. It's awesome. So we made that track Redemption together, and then Villa. Yeah, found all these people on Instagram. Oh, and there is another vocalist on Mirror Image. She did not want to be credited on it because she says it doesn't align with her personal projects. I'm not gonna say her project name, but her name is Ekaterina. That's her first name. But yeah, she was great to work with too. It's a shame she wouldn't let me put her name on it, but yeah, she killed it. Mirror Image.
I mean, maybe it's like too personally identifiable, but like, what kind of stuff does this person normally make?
It is they make like they were trying to go for this goth kind of pop stuff, and then they transition into like emo rap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can
it's
see how
working out for them though.
That's a bit different.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know what that would sound like, but I imagine they're kind of like hybrid genres of pretty much everything by now. So I believe that it's a thing.
Yeah.
It exists somewhere. So I guess I kind of thought because you have so many guest vocalists on your tracks that you don't also sing, but is that not true? Do you also sing on some of them?
Yeah, actually, you can hear my vocal like on Serpents. That's all me. The harsh vocals and the cleans. That's all me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I did notice that because a lot of the vocals on your tracks are primarily like sort of like pretty like ethereal. It's nice nice to have a lot of variety and like have something really harsh in there. You can really like feel the metal influence. So yeah, it's cool to hear like so much variety from like track to track, like throughout a record. And so the record is actually like comprised of different singles that you've already released, right? And then is it also some new tracks that haven't been released anywhere?
Yeah, like I really think like I saved the best for last. Like Serpent, the horror, and Redemption, and the Netherworld Beckons were they were released like with the album, so they weren't released before. All the others were released as singles at some point, but I did get like a couple of them got remastered for the album, so that made me happy.
Yeah, I thought they sounded great initially. And speaking of which, I have a few of your digital downloads from Bandcamp from previous
Sweet.
releases. So if anyone wants those in the chat, hit me up in the DMs on chat. Whisper if you're unfamiliar. That's what that is. Um, and I will send them to you also through GM. Cool. Um, nice. So you talked about your collaborators. So what are your current plans with the project? You've released this album, so what's next? Like, are you planning on touring at any point?
Well, I would like I up next I have an EP actually I've been working on. It's called the Godex Complex. So Godex with two X's, like the non-binary version of God. So I thought it sounded pretty cool. Um, yeah, I've been working on that, and that's more of just like those are just more like hard industrial kind of bangers. I just wanted to make a bunch of tracks that sound like Moon Dancer, right? Um, so because I like having that variety in my live sets. Yeah, hopefully, like I would love to start doing some live sets. I have no tours planned yet, but you never know. Like, I'm shooting for like a late 2022 tour. That'd be cool.
I know tours for most of us right now seem like a distant like dream almost. I canceled my first tour right before like right as the pandemic like kicked in. It was like about to go on it like that April. Um, that didn't work out obviously. So I'm
Mm,
like
yeah,
one day like I don't know. It's still for me doesn't seem like stable enough the whole situation to plan a tour. I understand why people are doing it, and they're like people are coming to shows and everything still, and we've got to get started back up at some point.
right.
um, yeah, it seems like a very scary thing to do right now. Is all the touring. It seems like we have an offer for horns on if you ever need horns in your music in the future. I feel like that would offer like really good atmosphere to the spooks, right?
Some horns. Ooh,
It can
yeah.
get
I'll
witchy
check
with
that out.
horns, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, cool. All right. So our next topic here, no touring plan. Do you have any? Well, we already talked about live shows. I kind of dropped the ball on that one. Sorry. We will have more live shows here in Seattle, and hopefully, eventually, you'll be able to tour, like the rest of us. So now you're working on an EP. That's just with this project, Kota Kira,
Yeah. Well,
and
I'm working on
me.
that, and I'm also working on the next Akira album. It's called The Cleanse.
Oh, nice. Okay, multiple things going on, and we posted the link to that other project, Dakira, the
Mhm.
metal project. If you missed it earlier in the chat, if you want to check that out as well. Um, yeah. So playing live eventually, and your active project is Dakira. Um, so what are your some of your favorite current producers and DJs right now?
Ooh, yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Barahari. Like she's really doing dark pop, like right. Like I love her music. Like all her
Music
music
videos
videos are
are so
awesome.
professional too.
Right?
This
She does it
last
all
one,
herself.
artificial. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely
don't know how she does it.
had like a big budget vibe. I was like, I wouldn't have been able to make this, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't have guessed it was like self-made or anything. That's pretty cool. Uh,
yeah. I'm
anyone
impressed. She makes
else?
her clothes too.
Oh,
I
that's
really
cool.
think like Sidewalks and Skeletons is like always killing it, and every release he does, he just gets better and better. I really think like Witch House is in this weird discover like kind of stage where it's trying to define itself. I think Sidewalks and Skeletons to me is like that's like that's like perfect Witch House to me, right? Um, I think he's an awesome producer. Also, Cash for Gold's like really killing it. I'm thinking about DJs and specifically, I wish we would get some of these cooler DJs here in America, like Hante, and I think that's how you pronounce her name, right? And then like SPF DJ, I think that's how you say her name, and then like
Hante do
Rebecca.
DJ sets? Maybe we were talking about someone different.
Wait, Hante period, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought that was just like a live act. I didn't know they DJ'd too.
Oh yeah, they DJ. Wait, maybe it's their other. They have like two projects, right? Maybe it's the other one that's the live. I get those two mixed up. They're both great. Minuet Machine and Hante, both great.
I thought that Hante was like the solo project of that person from Minuet Machine, but I don't know. All right.
Yeah, I thought she DJ'd. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be getting her mixed up with someone else. But
I've only ever heard
Europe, they're on some.
live music, like her own tracks, but I don't know. Maybe. Um, so wait, what are the other DJs you mentioned?
Um, you know, I'm a huge fan of like Rebecca, and the techno scene over there in Europe is just ridiculous. I'm so jealous of everything that goes on there. Germany's really killing it too. Like you got like DJs like Kleinkunstler, I think how you say it. Like if a DJ, if their name is hard to pronounce, they're probably really good. Right? So, um,
Maybe.
so I want to believe in them, right? I wish there was more Witch House DJs. I really do. Like, that scene is like doing so good now, and it seemed like it was like dead for years, and now like there's so many producers, but I don't see them out DJing. Like, if you make Witch
Yeah,
House, start DJing, please. Like, there
this
needs to be
kind of
more Witch House
surprises me
DJs.
actually, because I guess I sort of pegged Witch House as like sort of a Tumblr trend genre, like something that's sort of like chill wave. They came around like the same time when I was in college, like late 2000s, like 2008 or so. I feel like is when maybe a little later than that is around more like 2010 maybe, Witch House really
Yeah,
hit its like
2010.
first stride. And then it became sort of like really attached to that aesthetic, sort of like pastel goth. That was the thing. I guess it's still a thing, but
It's kind of like it's kind of this second wave now. I
it's
want to say that
persisted.
first wave in like 2010 to 2013 was like really weird. Like the music was either like really good or just like like really good with terrible quality or just terrible with terrible quality. Like I don't know what was going on then. And then just like years passed, and now we're getting like these like high quality witch house producers like Crow Cult, Ritual Drops. It's definitely Sidewalks and Skeletons. Like, there's like tons of them, and it seems to be like it seems like a lot of it's kind of starting to sound like it was sounding really trappy for a while, and that's kind of like it's still kind of trappy in some areas, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's still kind of like this genre that's trying to define itself in some ways.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of interesting to me because I was into it during like the original wave, and then I
Hmm.
kind of like lost interest after not much of it was being produced, and the quality sort of became a little sketch. I mean, from the
Yeah.
beginning, it was like a very like lo-fi, do-it-yourself genre, where that aesthetic is also like part of the appreciated element of it. Um, but so I think it might be this is like my random theory right now that I've just made up that those producers have maybe like evolved, and like grown as producers and built their own influences and evolved their technique or whatever. And then like some of those people are still producing, so maybe that's why we're hearing the same sound, but the evolution of that, we're just seeing those people grow as musicians. I know some of the like the original like witch house wave is still active. Like Sidewalks and Skeletons has been active for like a very long time, right? Like at least 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Um,
Forever.
yeah. Actually, while we're on that note, as part of the Remission merch giveaway, Kota Kira's label, who Sidewalks and Skeletons and a few of the other artists she mentioned are on, you can get free merch from them tonight in the channel points. You can enter. I have a few different options for the giveaway of remaining merch I had from previous giveaways with Remission. All right, I guess we're just really into Remission bands here on this channel. um,
I
I'm
support
spoiled
that.
with more than one of them here in Seattle. What are the chances? Black Agent also in the chat right now. Check out their EP. I think it's called Acid's Body on Remission 2. All right. Cool. So you just gave us like a great roundup of like active witch house artists to check out. That's awesome. Um, so you also have a Twitch channel, right? Do you
Hmm.
want to tell us like about like what you do there and when you broadcast?
Yeah, I try to do like a live DJ set every full moon and new moon. Um, you know, I try to do that at least once a month, either the full moon or new moon. But I've been getting more consistent as time goes on. But yeah, definitely check it out. Next full moon, I'm gonna be doing some mixing some dark techno with Witch House and Kota Kira, and I kind of just it's a lot of fun because I'm not like I'm not held to any like the venue I'm at. I don't have to play whatever genre. I can play whatever I want. So if you're into just hearing all kinds of dark spooky tunes, then check it out.
Nice. Yeah, that's exactly my target audience here. People that are
Yeah.
open-minded and interested in different types of music within our overall realm of spooky dark stuff.
Yeah. Big
uh,
on the maximum spooks.
or
Absolutely.
also just electronic music too. I mean, not everything that I play is like super goth. Anyway, we like a combination of things here. So yeah, check out Kota Kira's Twitch channel. I just posted the link in the chat. And yeah, she does a couple of streams a month on cleverly timed days, new moon and uh, sorry, what was the other one?
The full moon.
Full
Yes.
moon, right? I need to work on my is that technically I guess that's just like moon cycles.
Yeah, just
That's
moon
just
stuff, right?
science. All right. I'm just not good at science here. Okay. Um okay. So this is just a fun question because I would personally like to know where do you buy your clothes? Cuz you always have super cute outfits and the
Oh my
world needs
god.
to know. Give us fashion advice.
Oh yeah, I want to say like a lot of my stuff comes from like thrift stores. I like Killstar a lot. Killstar is awesome. Depop. Um, you know, thrift stores is where I get most of my stuff, honestly. And my partner is like ridiculously good at finding clothes. They'll just be like, "I'm gonna go out and find you some new pants," and I'll be like, "Okay," and they'll come back with like three perfect pants. I'm like, "Where the fuck did you find this?" Like, yeah. Oh, and I want to plug this one store in Seattle that's really awesome. New York Exchange. You've been there, right?
I don't think I have actually. Where is it?
Oh shit, it's in Capitol Hill. It's in your neighborhood. How have you not been? Oh my god, you gotta go.
Is
Okay,
it
you
new? I feel
gotta.
like
No,
I'm
it's
like
been there
the
for years.
what?
Yeah, that's like one
They must
reason
have
I
changed
wanted
their
to move
name.
here. Yeah, I love
What?
that place. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the place on Broadway with like the like Unsi they play like really loud music and like have like a lot of like PVC stuff and like big boots and stuff. Is that what that's called?
Maybe. It's like
It's
nothing but just
it,
it's like
it
dark alternative
is it
clothing.
a Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's the place I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um yeah, yeah. I have been in there a few times before. uh wow, it's really like that well known. Did you visit and like just randomly went there and were like, I love this, I need to move here, or how did
Pretty
that
much,
happen?
yeah. Well, it's like, okay, I visited, and then one of my friends who lives here showed me around, and she showed me the Goss store. Then that night we went to a industrial like metal show at a vegan metal bar or something, and then I was like, this is it. Like, I gotta move here. Like, oh, and then the next day they took me to the Mercury when that was open, which is this awesome goth club. That's what sold it for me. I'm like, this place is awesome. So,
Cool. Yeah, apparently it used to be called Metro. So I'm
Metro,
not
okay.
going crazy. It did have a different name, and I do remember it by that name. I haven't shopped in a physical store in a minute now. Oops.
Yeah.
I should get on that. Uh Venture P says they've taken my paycheck many times. Yeah, those like platform shoes, those are really expensive. It's like $150 like minimum if you want like a
Hmm.
nice pair. It's like what the fuck. I know it's a
Yeah.
lot of material. I mean, and if you want like ethically sourced, like not like made in China, whatever bullshit, it's even more expensive, like $300 or whatever for ethically made goth boots. The struggle.
Yeah, why are they so expensive? And why do I want
What
so
the
many?
fuck?
Every time I get one, I want more.
If you're just tuning in now, we are interviewing Kota Kira, who is a great dark electronic musician based here in Seattle, Washington. She just released her first record called The Netherworld Beckons, and we are soon about to listen to the rest of it. We did a little preview track with the first song, and we're going to chat with Kota Kira in between tracks, just about whatever, really, just commentary about those tracks. And if you missed it earlier, we are doing a giveaway in the chat, in the channel points called Roses in a Cage on my page. I think it's like 1,000 to enter, which you should hypothetically be able to make in a few hours. But yeah, you can enter the giveaway for free Remission Entertainment merch from Kota Kira's label. And also, if you would like any of her previous releases on Bandcamp, I have the high quality digital downloads to give away at will. So you can just DM me if you want the previous downloads on Bandcamp. Okay, cool. So now we are going to get more into the listening party element of this presentation. If if you have any questions or anything, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. Okay, and now we are going to play the second track of The Netherworld Beckons from Kota Kira, which is called Moon Dancer. So that was the track Moon Dancer, track number 2 from the Netherworld Beckons. We're doing a listening party right now and having Kota Kira here, the artist, talk about these tracks in between playing them. So, Moon Dancer, let's hear about it.
Yeah. Oh, this track is. I love this track so much. The story behind this track is that there's like, I wish I could make a music video for this, right? It'd be like, some person is like going out to this lake late at night, the full moon's out, everything's peaceful, and then they feel this kind of like, they hear this song and it's getting closer and closer, and then like these temptresses come right out of the water, right? And they just start dancing with the person, and then they just, you know, they're having a good time, and then things turn sinister, and then they try to drag this man into the lake, right? And then he's trying to get out for his dear life, and then, they just keep dragging him down, and that's, that little drop in there is like, down, down. I really wanted that to sound like you're living, like, underwater, and you can actually hear chains in there, where, like, I found, like, a sample of, like, some, like, chains, like, being pulled, kind of like a drawbridge, to, like, an old castle sound.
This is strict tempo approved. We have trains surrounding us right now.
Hell yeah.
The chains are a big part of the show here.
Absolutely, chains everywhere, right? Yeah, I kind of wanted that, I really wanted to capture that kind of, false sense of security turned into, something sinister kind of vibe there. And, kind of like, before you know it, you're dancing, but, you thought you were having a good time dancing, but then you're dancing with your demons next minute, right? I want it to be kind of spook up on you, right? And that's, that track was hella fun to make. That was one track where I let myself just go fucking loose and just decided, like, I'm gonna throw piano in this, I'm gonna put guitar in this, I'm gonna put vocals in it. I recorded my partner saying, like, lust over and over again. I put that everywhere. Like, yeah, so fun to make. And there's this one plugin, oh god, the name is, like, slipping my mind, but, it's called, like, Break Tweaker or something like that. No, Stutter Edit. That's it. Like, all those little, like, kind of sounds. Like, I did that terribly. I sound like a dolphin. But still, like, those siren sounds that kind of happen after the beat picks up, I use Stutter Edit to make that. And I saw someone asking about plugins. That goes back to that. Like, Stutter Edit, Gatekeeper, those two are, like, all over my tracks. I kind of go through different software synths every couple months. But right now, Omnisphere's winning, and then huge fan of. I was a fan of Serum. Now kind of moved on to Phase Plant, Valhalla plugins like Vintage Verb, like use that on like everything. I find myself I'll just buy a bunch of plugins and then use the same ones over and over again. Those are the ones I go back to.
Cool. That doesn't mean a lot to me, but for someone out there, yeah, cool. I love that you have this whole story. Like, I wasn't really imagining this, like, like actual, like, like full story. It's like most people are just like, probably be like, yeah, I thought this sounded cool, and like, but you've got this whole like vision for the track, and it's like represents something very specific. You got this like setting where there's like people dragging like temptresses. I can't remember exactly what you said. They're dragging a man out of the water or into the water,
into the lake. They're trying to drown him with his demons, right? So
the lake is like the lake of hell or whatever, right? Or
yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like you're being pulled into the netherworld, right? Yeah. If I could make a music video for this, it'd be so cool, and then it'd be like eventually the man would like make it out, right? And he would be like fighting for his life to get out. Then he'd like turn around, and then the lake would be normal, and he'd go home, take a shower, and be like, that was weird. And he like shut his little mirror thing, and it would say like, welcome to the netherworld in blood or something. I think that'd be so sick. Yeah.
Perfect. I need this video to happen now. Yeah, that's really cool. So would you say like the netherworld is akin to hell or like the underworld, or is it sort of like a fantasy realm that's like not exactly akin to that?
Yeah, it's, the concept did start as like, I kind of wanted it to be kind of like a personal hell, but I didn't want to just call it hell. Like, I needed, like, I was looking up synonyms for hell. And then I kind of like, Netherworld made the most sense for me. And then, yeah, I kind of ran with that, and it kind of turned into this whole world. And now, like, I have like stories. I have tons of like writings I've done with this story, and that's like Moon Dancer is a good example of just me telling like a story through a song. So
Yeah, and now we get to hear the actual story, like beyond the song, which is really cool. And you can listen to it, and you can hear all those elements coming together to create that atmosphere that you were searching for. So I think it's a really successful track. It might be my favorite from your record. Uh, it's the one that I keep playing for all of my like intros and everything for your promo. It's got like that hook, with the beat and everything. It lures you in successfully. So great
oh yeah,
job. Okay, so we're gonna get into the next track here, which is Redemption featuring Ida Lovelace.
all right, he is in the chat.
Hello out there.
Can somebody, can somebody, can somebody tell me what is the price for redemption? Take this soul from any
Okay, and we're back. So we have Redemption featuring Ada Lovelace, who is in the chat with us.
Yeah, this track. Oh fuck yeah! I mean, working with Ida is just like has been it's been amazing. Like from the she like came to my house. We just like got in the studio and you know from day one we were just writing this like all we just had the title Redemption. We just worked from that and we kind of like you know yeah, she was really involved with the production of this. I would say I would consider her definitely a co-producer in this one, whereas like the other tracks was just kind of more like they assisted more in the writing than the production. Uh, this you know it's really kind of about we wanted to take that you know me and Ida both kind of share similar like church trauma you know stories. You know we have similar backgrounds. You know just being like you know sometimes religion isn't kind and it can tell you that you know you're not okay when you're just trying to be yourself and that's kind of what this song's about. It's kind of like what is the price of redemption. Like I fucking love that line, right? It says so much because it feels like sometimes you could do everything, you know, you can try everything, but you know it's never good enough because you don't fit the ideal image, you know, right? um yeah, this track was so fun to make. Yeah, I can't like I loved it like every second of it.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that you have so many collaborations with others and that you have put so much thought into every track. Like you definitely like you have more than a concept. It's like a whole like feeling that you put into it and like this emotional backstory of like what it means to you. And that's like it feels kind of rare. Most people are just like, you know, this beat sounds dope.
Yeah, I never get
But you have
that. I
like full
never.
like fantasy stories and everything behind it, without being like a dorky prog album. So that's awesome.
Cool, Ida. I'm glad I said it perfectly because you know, yeah, Ida wrote all the lyrics. I will say that, and like she did an awesome job. Like, oh god, she said when she sent me the second verse, uh, I cried. I legitimately just cried. It was just so freaking perfect. Like, yeah. This is. I've had so many people message me too about this track. Like, I really think this is like this was the hidden banger. Like, we gotta make a music video for this. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, when are the
Make,
music videos dropping? You have so many amazing photo shoots. If you all haven't been following Kota Kira on Instagram, there's a lot of really cool witchy photo shoots to check out there. And you know,
yeah.
Kota Kira's awesome music and whatnot too.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can do music videos soon. You know, it's just a matter of just like, you know, I wanted to, like, I was trying to schedule the music videos, but also trying to do it with my full length album. And then, you know, unfortunately, music doesn't make me enough money to do it full time. So I have a job. So now that the album's out, you know, I'm talking with someone. So hopefully we'll get some albums out by like March. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see.
Struggle is real.
Yeah,
Well,
struggle.
that's awesome though. All right, so we're gonna listen to temptresses now, and maybe hear a little bit more about these temptresses. already talked a little bit about the Temptresses, but also I'm curious. So you do a lot of these photo shoots, right? And some of them are for your album art, and some of them are, just like promo shoots and whatnot. And I noticed that you have a few people frequently in them, featured in them,
Oh yeah.
including one person who was on your last or one of your last releases. And I've noticed that they're on this cover too. So are these people the Temptresses, or do you want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe it's unrelated, but
Oh yeah. Those are you got it. Yeah, those are the Temptresses. So that this song is supposed to kind of make like I made this song to kind of capture that feeling of like, what it feels like to be in the presence of a temptress, right? To actually be like in their grasp, kind of like, you're stuck in their like their spider and you're stuck in their web and there's nothing you can do about it. It's kind of I wanted to there's lots of like, little whispers and crazy laughs. I kind of wanted to make you feel like you're going crazy. Considering the models though, one of them, my good friend Rachel, who was on the Mirror Image single. And the other one is my partner M. So they the letter M, like as in moon. They're reoccurring models that I plan to keep reusing. Music videos and photo shoots, and their role there is to kind of play that kind of seductress, to kind of like lead you in with temptation, right? So that's the whole point there. And I like to think that in that photo shoot, like we were going for this kind of like you go outside and you find some like old looking case with a VHS tape in it, and you put the VHS tape in your VCR, then it's like this old Victorian footage, and you're like, that's weird, they didn't have video cameras in the Victorian era, right? So I kind of wanted that vibe to be captured with like that shoot, so it kind of trips you out, where it feels kind of like it's like got that Victorian old film kind of look.
so these are kind of recurring characters. Are they like meant to be the Temptresses, or just fulfilling that vibe, I guess?
Yeah, they are like they are like they are like the Temptresses, but like the Temptresses like will show up, like that's how they show up for me, right? So like that would be like my own personal netherworld, right? The Temptresses for someone else might show up as like, I don't know. I kind of like to imagine they show up as like sexy Temptresses no matter what, right? So yeah. They're going to be reoccurring characters. I would say yes, they are the Temptresses. Like, those are some of them. I would love to do like a photo shoot with like 50 Temptresses and kind of like this full world I have in my head to kind of like bring like that would just cost an insane amount of money though, right? But one day, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, just get a lot of extras.
Right.
I would do it.
Oh yeah,
I
okay. You should
I
be in
want
the
to be
next
a
photo
sea of
shoot.
Temptresses. That
Fuck
sounds
yeah, let's do
legit.
it.
Sign me up.
Let's do it.
For the music video drop, right? The world needs it.
Absolutely. Always need more goth
We're
bitches, right?
depriving the people of this really by not making it happen. So
Yeah.
something to think about. Do you have anything else you want to talk about the track, like like the musical elements or anything?
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but like, do you hear like the harsh vocals, like kind of in that big drop over there? They're kind of like buried in there. Those were actually taken from my Kira album, so it's like kind of interesting piece of trivia there. Um,
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I see a lot of, like someone using elements of one of their other projects in like a different genre project. Um,
yeah, it was.
maybe people do that often. I don't know.
I don't. I haven't really heard of that either, and I'm kind of like, why don't people do this? Like, we recorded a
I
bunch
wouldn't
of
know why really, but
right. We recorded a bunch of feedback too from like these big ass amps. We had them out like cranked to 11, right? So I used a lot of that feedback that obviously didn't use on the album. I used that in that song, The Temptresses, and that's kind of I feel like that gives it a lot of atmosphere. It blends in well. It's kind of hard to make out, but you can hear it if you listen for it.
I can definitely hear there's like little bits of like metal influences,
Mm-hmm.
like those metal vocals, or like some of it's like the tones, or like just like the keys that you use. They're very like sort of like almost like down-tuned sounding, like a lot of like metal is to me. I'm not a metal expert. I'm throwing it out there again, but I can hear it though. I can hear it.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, I tend to play like right in harmonic minor, which tends to be like what a lot of like extreme metal is written in.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear it. Like even in like the the keys that you choose to use, like it's all got that ambiance. All right, let's go straight into Welcome to the Netherworld.
for me.
Yeah, this track was I want to say like this is a track the first time I decided to put like I decided to make like a more I want to say structure a song more like a techno track, right? So this one had a lot like I remember searching like 6 hours for like just one vocal sample for this track. Like, oh god, it was such a pain. But I'm really glad with the way it came out. I kind of want it to feel kind of like there's another track where you feel like you're thrown into the netherworld and then you're under the Temptress's grasp, right? And I wanted to kind of feel like you're in some kind of abusive relationship, kind of like I wanted it to kind of mimic that, kind of like where 1 second you're being told like, oh, everything's okay, and that's like the honeymoon stage, and then you go on to like all this like crazy shit, then you point it out and you're like, what the fuck? They're like, no, it's cool, like we're cool, I love you, and then that's kind of what I wanted to do with this track.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for the insight. My cat is wandering over my ring light right now. We might have some cat interference coming. hopefully,
Oh yeah,
hopefully, really that happens. Not a bad
I
thing.
hope so. Yeah,
Cat
cats are always
appearances
welcome.
always welcome on on the
Always.
channel. Um, I had a bunch of cat costumes on my Amazon wish list for the stream, and they just went like instantly. It was like I couldn't even keep anything up for Beans up there for like 24 hours. My cat's name is Beans, and she
Oh,
regularly comes into my streams while I'm DJing. She like sleeps in front of my deck for like 3 hours lately. In case you're unaware, we like cats here. um, and we also like Kota Kira's here.
oh yeah.
Cool. Well, the next track is called The Horror, and that is spelled with an W. Thank you very much. called The Horror. You can find all of these tracks on Kota Kira's new album called The Underworld Beckons. And we are on track 6 right now, listening through it. There are 10 total. So we're a little over halfway through here. And Kota Kira is going to tell us a bit about this track now.
Oh yeah, this one's awesome. It was originally called the horror, spelled with an H, but because of I have a little bit of a southern accent, people always thought I said the horror, so I'm just like fuck it, it's the horror. So that's why it's called the horror. This one was basically just like I kind of wanted to just like focus on that feeling of just like you know what it feels like to actually face your like true dark self or your like true self, to have your 100% of you right in front of you and just to be honest. And that's kind of, I wrote this like with that in mind, and it kind of just started out like with piano, and I just made like kind of a little risky with this one. I wanted this one to kind of sound like this is kind of like my take on dubstep, right? So this is like Kota Kira, like this is like I wanted to make something that was like it could mix in well with like dubstep, right? But it wasn't quite dubstep, but it's still kind of dubstep, right? So
Yeah, actually, I was going to bring that up because this is definitely the track that I can really hear dubstep in. Like right when this track started, I was like, okay, this is the dubstep track right here. I mean, I'm not saying that as like a negative thing, which like those influences are very prevalent compared to the other tracks as well. And I think this, from my perspective of what I see as dubstep, it's definitely on like the dark, like underground end of things. So I'm not like snubbing my nose at like the Skrillex, sort of like big arena style stuff. Which I mean, I know you said it, there's a lot of that that's in the atmosphere, and surely I just don't understand. But I do hear a lot here, and it's interesting when it's developed with all your other influences, right? Because you can hear there's sort of like a dubstep undercurrent, but then you've got like your whole like witchy, just like it's like overwashing it. So it creates a really interesting effect for me, and reminds me of that like sort of early era of dubstep, which was a lot darker. Um, and
interesting.
maybe
Okay.
maybe there's a lot of dark stuff happening now. I honestly have not been following it for several years at this point. So maybe you'll have to show me the good dubstep that's being made now. Perhaps it's kind of
Yeah.
like Witch House, and those original producers have had just a lot of time to develop. Or I suppose maybe some of them have moved on to other genres. Is it like a big scene for it right now, you would say?
Oh my god, it's so freaking big. I want to say like Skrillex was the beginning of the big state scene, right? And there was a couple years there where it was just really good, and then there was a couple years just like Witch House where it was just everything sounded the same. But in the past like 3 years or so, it's like come back, and it's kind of gone back to its roots with the more like the slower feel to it, and it's been less. The focus is still on sound design, though, which is kind of the thing that Skrillex started. I honestly used to hate Skrillex, but like I said before, I went to a dubstep show. It kind of changed my mind. It's not for everyone. I want to say that. Like, you probably would go to like. I would say if you're interested though, check out like Excision or like Nightmare or like those are the people. They're selling out arenas, right? But it's still like raw, like dark stuff. Though like one reason I started Kota Kira was that like I was at like I was on an Excision show, and I remember one of the opening acts was Sullivan King, and then which is fine if you like Sullivan King, it's all good. But I remember he started and he like screamed and stuff like that, and some people next to me were like, "Wow, this is the heaviest music I've ever heard." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "This is like so metal," but it's not. I'm like, what? Like, someone's got to do something about this. Like, it was just kind of, it was like rubbing the wrong way. I'm like, people are thinking this is metal and heavy, so like, I'm gonna show them what metal and heavy is, right? So that's one reason I started Kota Kira, just out of like a lot of people. There's some great dubstep there. I'll say that there is.
You're combining a lot of your dark influences, like the metal and like more gothy end of things, with a lot of like modern electronic dance subgenres. So it's cool to see such a mishmash all in one place that's successful. A lot of people might who are pulling from like sort of like disparate genres, like stuff that's really different from each other, and just like fusing them as one seamless unit. So that's really cool that you can do that.
Yeah, it's all
And
about the
I'm excited
vibes,
to
right?
see where this cohesion of things takes you in the future.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes it hard to
and
book shows, though. I'll tell you that. Because they'll be like, you go to a dubstep show, they'll be like, you sound too techno. You go to a techno show, you sound too
oh my
dubstep. You gotta,
God,
like, it's
tell
a
me
pain
about
in
it.
the ass. Yeah.
I also exist. I mean, I play like a zillion different genres myself.
Yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
like
so
about your channel. Yes.
yeah, I'm like somebody's trying to book me for like a post punk gig, and their promoter is like, wait, like they look at my page and they see like the one like dark, like the recent like dark hard techno mix that I did, and they're like, what? So yeah, I mean, it can confuse people when you're operating in a lot of different zones, because a lot of people just stick to what they do and do it really well, and that's
Hmm.
awesome. But we have to make room for the freaks who just want to do it all, and
Right?
you know, yeah, I mean, I have that struggle too, because I'm sort of like, like techno goth. It's like the goth clubs are kind of like a little. Some of them, like goth events are like it's like a little too techno for that, or like they don't want
Hmm.
something so heavily electronic, or like the opposite. It's like they want something that's like just straight up techno, like no darkness at
Yes.
all. It's
I know
like,
what you mean.
where am I supposed to go here? Like, no one wants me. I'm just in the middle. So yeah, that's definitely something I can relate to as well. And I mean, we do find our way.
Yeah. We're
there
just going to
there
make our
are
own scene,
places
right?
that combine different elements of like dark music and electronic music. Obviously, not it's not especially prevalent in Seattle, I would say. Like, I don't know, our scenes are kind of like a little bit, disjointed. Like, um, we have, I don't know, like the electronic clubs that are like very like, EDM focused. Like, that's all
Hmm.
they do. And it's all just like newer, like bigger electronic artists, or like, they, I don't know, techno nights that will only kind of book their same crew of people, and like there's a lot of
Yeah.
that happening. It happens
Yeah.
everywhere. It's just like a music scene problem everywhere. But for the freaks, that are kind of just like in the middle of different genres, we kind of have to like make our own way. So I respect that.
Yeah, let's just make our
And this
own
is why we'll
community,
we'll
right?
play
Yeah.
shows together in the future here.
Oh, yeah, we will. Yeah.
The freaks must band together.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, all right, we have Candlelight featuring Siri next. Okay, so we have Candlelight featuring Siri. Now, this is one of the tracks I've actually heard before from the album, released as a single a few months ago on Remission Entertainment as well. This is one of the tracks I have a free digital download of if you want
Oh yeah.
it. And you can also check out all of these tracks and including a few that have not been released before anywhere, definitely on this record, The Netherworld Beckons, which I will post a link again to here in a moment. But let's hear from Kota Kira on this track. I'm especially interested in hearing if there's any like sound design stuff on this one because it seems like it has like a very complex electronic sound to me. Not that your other tracks didn't, but yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if you have anything special to say about it, but let us know.
this was probably this was probably the hardest track for me to finish on the album, honestly. Like kind of like if you could hear like version one of this, you'd be like, what song is this? Like but yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot like uh I ended up breaking a lot of rules that they in music production, like they say you should put reverb on your bass, and I was like, I'm gonna do what I want. And then yeah, and it kind of gave me this like wide atmospheric sound, and then kind of worked from there. And Ziri, honestly, like, there's like we just like we layered that track up. There's I think there's like one part there's like 7-8 layers of her voice going. Working with her has been awesome. I think we took like 6 months to make this song. It took a long time. Yeah, and you can hear this kind of like kind of clock sound that kind of is going on there, and and at the end too, like when she kind of just belts and kind of just goes all in it, just full like goddess, right? It's kind of feels like like there's this goddess awakening and inside, and that's kind of what we were going for there, and totally feeling that goddess reborn with this track. 'Cause now as you get closer to the end of the album, it kind of you're going through the netherworld, right? And you've been through all the horrors and everything. You've witnessed the power of the temptresses, and you feel like you're gone crazy, and you've made it this far. Maybe things aren't so bad, and you enter this stage of rebirth, and that's kind of where this track comes in. It's this stage of rebirth, and then yeah, that's kind of what this is about. And it's about like also kind of being careful what you wish for. Like sometimes what you imagine you want is not what you need, right? So this song is more about getting what you need versus what you want, right? Um, yeah.
Well put. We have a question from the chat, and that is, how long did it take you to finish this record?
Ooh. Um. Mm, uh. 2 years.
That's quite a process.
Yeah, but I was also figuring out how to produce in that time. I really wasn't like really too good in Ableton. I'd only had like a year experience in that. So I've only been like doing Ableton every day, since like 2018. And I mean, I try to do it every day. Like I want to see Ableton in my dreams, right? So
Yes. That's awesome. Dedication. So is that around the time that you started making electronic music in general? Just like you were, sorry, I'm gonna forget what this is called. It's fire spinning, or it's not throwing. That's like something different.
oh,
It's like
Fire Poi, yeah, Fire Poi, which is
fire. Sorry, could you say again?
Fire Poi, Poi,
Poi?
Poi, yes, Poi,
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Fire Poi.
why I didn't like remember it because I don't know what that means.
Same fire spinning, whatever you have in your head for
Fire
that. That's
spinning.
same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. I had a more special name that I didn't know yet. Okay, great. Awesome. I'm gonna have to like research that later. I need some fire spinners at my events in the future for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I'd do it for
If you
free. So
if you want to do
yeah,
that.
I'm down.
Hint,
Yeah, I
hint.
love spinning
Maybe
fire.
maybe if we have an outdoor event. I'm assuming like it's probably like an outdoor only sort of deal, right?
Yeah, I
Ba-
don't. I mean, you'd be
Sounds
surprised what
safe.
some people paid me to do. So like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I think it's fire code, a fire code, a fire code thing here at least, because there have been some really bad situations that have come up through people using pyrotechnics on stage. I think in Seattle, it's completely banned to have fire in any sort of venue.
That makes sense. I wouldn't feel comfortable spinning fire in a Seattle venue. Yeah. That
Yeah.
18-year-old me was cool with it, but not today. Yes.
Yeah. We learn as we go. Yeah, I think there were some definite tragedies that occurred. There was like a big fire at a venue in
Oh
BC
shit.
many years ago that resulted from someone using pyrotechnics on stage. But anyway, downer note. But yes, fire play when in the right situation, pretty awesome. Uh, cool. Well, let's. Unless you have anything else to say about that, you had a guest vocalist on that one, right?
Yeah,
Ziri. You said
Siri.
that
Yeah.
this person contacted you like on social media. You said.
Yeah, on Instagram. So like this is like first track I ever released that's in my style today is Witchcraft, and I had a 10-second preview of it on Instagram. I hadn't even released yet, and she saw that like I think it was like 2 hours after I posted, and then like messaged me. It was like, hey, we gotta work together. I'm like, okay. So that was my first time working with a vocalist. We learned a lot together, and she unfortunately like she hasn't been very active with her her whole music. I think she like moved, she's going through some stuff, but I do have a song that I've been producing for her project. So if you want to hear a dark, like kind of sultry, moody, dark pop song that's kind of like Lana Del Rey meets Kota Kira, um, then say like you have something to look forward to there. It's called Third Glass of Pinot. She has a demo out for it already, but I produced the non-demo version, I guess, for lack of a better term. Right. That's on release. Yeah.
Cool. So that's going to be released like on her Bandcamp or something.
It should be like on I don't think she's on Bandcamp, but I should get her on Bandcamp. But yeah, it's gonna be released on all streaming platforms and everything. And then also like, if you follow me on any platform, it should show up for mine too.
Pitch, follow Kota Kira on all the platforms.
Follow me.
She she has an Instagram and posts lots of really cool photos that you could like. She has a Facebook that you could follow for future events and other release information. She also has a Twitch channel where she spins awesome DJ sets. So you should definitely check that out as well. That's under Kota Kira Official. I believe you can just click on her name in the chat and it will take you there. But I'll post all these links here in a minute. Again, yay. So a big thanks to Kota Kira for being with us here tonight. And we're going to play the next track for you, second to last one tonight, which is Mirror Image.
Take my
we are back here with Kota Kira. We are doing a track play-by-play of her new record out on Remission Entertainment. If you're just joining us, it's called The Netherworld Beckons. If you are enjoying these tunes, you can catch Kota Kira's past releases. I have free Bandcamp digital downloads for them, and you can check out this full record in its complete form now on Remission Entertainment. Kota Kira also has really awesome merch that you should check out. They're really cute crop tops. I've been meaning to get one. I need to get on that. But also on the Remission Entertainment merch page, if you're curious, an excellent person to support if you are not convinced yet by this far in the interview. So Mirror Image, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Oh yeah, definitely. First, I want to say though, those crop tops, they look hella cute on everyone. Definitely, I need to get you one. Next time you throw a show, I might bring you one. So that'd be awesome. But yeah, Mirror Image is one of those tracks that it was super fucking fun to make. I had so much fun. Like you can hear all like the mirror, like the breaking glass sound and all that, and I probably spliced the like, I swear it was like 30 something just like mirror smashing samples and ran them through a bunch of processors and stuff, and it was so fun. And the concept behind this track though is kind of like the vocals. That's kind of like the mirror, right, talking to you. Because sometimes, like, you know, if you suffer from like dysphoria, you probably relate to this, where you look in the mirror and you're like, who am I? You know, who is this person? Like, I don't feel like I look like on the outside, kind of, you know, feeling. Or kind of like, you know, sometimes too, I feel like we get so deep into mass, right, where we just like try to fit in with certain people, and we're just so far in with just who we aren't, like we're being someone we aren't. And this is kind of like, this song is like from the perspective of just like, you know, it's as if you're looking in the mirror and the temptresses are in the mirror talking back to you, and they bring you into the netherworld, right? And that part when she's like, oh, you want to stay, don't you? Where it's like, do you want to stay here in the netherworld? Do you want to stay here? And this kind of like, you know, your real self is like there stuck in the netherworld, and you got this, you know, mask running around, if that makes any sense. And that's kind of like the whole concept behind that.
Does make sense. And again, I'm really impressed with how much thought has just gone into each of these tracks. I studied poetry in college, so when I hear songs that are like electronic, they don't have any lyrics or anything. It's like more about like the environment of the track or something. You know, you don't have like that sort of lyrical element to tell a story, but I feel like you're doing a lot of that work here, and it kind of makes me wish there were more lyrics. I know you use a lot of like really cool samples and whatnot, and I mean, you have a lot of vocalists.
Now I do, yeah.
So I mean, maybe I'm wrong there. There are plenty of lyrics. Vox Sinistra.
Well, it's
I'm
always good
referring
that you
myself
want
there
one
for a second.
more. So, yeah, future releases,
But
I definitely want to do more.
hearing all this
Yeah.
stuff now, I'm like, I want more of it, like in that music, you know, like I want it to come through in a really like obvious, not obvious way. It's cool that, you know, there's this backstory too, but I think that it would really, you know, draw people in to have this fantasy realm created for them in the lyrical sense of the sort of, you know, like, I don't know what I'm saying right now.
No, I
You're
know
doing
what
a
you're
great
saying.
job.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing a great job. All right. Cool. Do you have anything else to say about this track?
Um, oh yeah, one you can probably hear if you listen closely, just kind of how the vocals are and everything's arranged. Like you can probably hear like some more influences you wouldn't expect, like some like, you know, early post-hardcore emo influences in this track. Don't know if you're picking it up, but I used to like, as a teenager, that stuff, like, that was my everything, right? And it's still like, you know, still part of me. I used to deny. I used to be like, no, I was never into that kind of music. But now it's just like, I decided to kind of embrace it. And when I was writing this song, I kind of wanted to write it kind of more like with that structure in mind. I guess it came out more like a dark pop kind of song. I don't, what genre is this? Yeah.
What genre is this? We don't really need
Occult
that
dance
answer.
music, right?
You've created your own. It's not a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mentioned it, I can now hear that there's some sort of post-hardcore influence for sure. I have experience with that music as
Cool.
well. I don't think you have to like, I don't know. if you're doing something now that's completely different from something you've done in the past, I don't think you have to like shun it, you know, and be like, I'm doing this now. Like I did like that at one time, but you know, I feel like we all kind of just absorb our influences, and they just sort of make us who we are and like make us whole. Like little pieces of stuff that influences us can be part of the like the end outcome, right? It doesn't have to be
Hmm.
like you are always operating in this genre and like you are doing it now and like a more advanced level. It's like we can tie in all these elements of different, you know, musical styles that we may have influenced us in the past, um, and sort of use that to create our own spin on whatever we're doing, right? Um, that's how I see it anyway. Like I certainly have many old musical influences that would surprise people. Like my first radio shows were like indie pop and twee and like garage rock, like
Ooh.
60s music. And then
Oh
I
yeah.
got into like 70s punk and post punk and new wave, synth pop. I did that for many years before I even got into like dance music and like, I mean, I always had like an interest in electronic music and stuff like dance music, but that's been a more recent inspiration for me. So I mean, I think we can take like, you know, disparate influences and sort of mash them together to create our own thing, and that's what makes us special. You know, that makes us like unique, and it's something to listen to that's different from anything else. It's going to
Yeah,
sound
I
like
absolutely
everything else.
agree.
You know, who wants to sound
I
like everyone
agree.
else? So I think you should
Imitators.
embrace this like post-hardcore or whatever influence that you had there. You know, it's like, treat it as like part of the whole. So that's my take.
I like that. Yeah, I really do.
Cool. Okay, so this brings us to the final track. We've had a really awesome time here with Kota Kira. We're going to listen to Serpents.
this is the track where, like, it's the ending track, and it's the ending track for a reason. Um, Serpents is kind of the continuation of another song, like, actually wrote, like, for Kira, that was, this was Swallowed by Serpents, and, I had this when I was like 18. I had these like really crazy dreams about snakes a lot, and there would always be these cobras just like hissing at me, and then I would be like frozen in fear, and I would just have this reoccurring dream for like weeks. And then one night, the cobras are still there, but there was also this beautiful woman that like had this like goddess energy, right? Just chilling there, and she had this green python, and then I just like walked, like she told me to like come to her. And I was like, okay. And then I went up to her, and the snake went from like her palm to like, my face, and just started wrapping its like body all around me. And I felt this like sense of like peace and just like, just safety. And she told me to just go through the cobras. And I walked through the cobras, and then I was fine until I reached the last one. The last one bit me right on the ass. And then I threw up all this like black bile, right? Just like all over the ground and stuff. And then I woke up, and I felt like I was like, it was like I gained consciousness. It was like I felt reborn. I'm like, there is this person inside of me who like wants to come out, and I need to do everything in my power to see who this person is. And then I went and got these tattoos on my fingers. I don't know if you see it so well. Say Kota Kira. And I knew that this person was inside of me, but I didn't know who she was, right? At the time, I had no idea, right? Well, I wasn't willing to accept it. And this song Serpents is kind of like when I wrote the other song about this dream, I had a different perspective on it. I thought it was like, so it was a rebirth from like, being controlled by religion to not. And then now I'm looking at it, and I see like that goddess is me. And that's why like those lyrics say like, I'm terrified of what's inside, what she's calling to you, dark goddess divine. And that's kind of where that comes from there. And it's perfect song to end the album with, right? Because now that we've gone all the way through the album, you can see kind of where the journey starts, where it's more chaotic, and you're going through the Netherworld and everything, and then when you reach about like witchcraft and Candlelight, that's where like the rebirth comes in, and like I don't think we talked about witchcraft too much, but witchcraft was a song where like I wrote before I transitioned, and I produced that before I transitioned. And I remember the vocals in that. There's like a woman screaming, right? And my friend was like, "Why don't you put your vocals there?" I'm like, "No, it has to be like a woman that sounds like they're screaming from deep down inside." And I was like, "I don't know why, but that's why it's got to be there." But now everything's out. Like everything's like makes perfect sense. And it's funny how an album works like that. It kind of like tells a story subconsciously. You're telling a story subconsciously without realizing it. At least for me. Same thing happened with the Kira album, where it comes out. I'm like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense." So, but as I was writing it, like the Serpents one, I just tried to, like I got a new like feeling about how like a new interpretation of that dream, and that's kind of what this is. Those vocals there, like I want to say I did like 50 takes of those harsh vocals. I get my partner come in, I'm like, which one's the best? It was the first one. It was the first one, the first take I did. So I wasted like 2 days of recording it just because I was just like super nervous about the song. I don't think anyone would like it, but I'm like, I almost didn't release it. I'm really glad because it was kind of, it's really different. Like it's got these harsh metal vocals in it over this, kind of like hard techno kind of rhythm with this kind of like, atmosphere going on. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that track. I can't wait to play that one live, honestly.
I love that each of these tracks has their own dedicated story, and like you've really thought through the creation of each one of them. You've been like inspired to create each one of them in a different way. Like this was like it was a dream, right?
Absolutely.
And you basically made your dream come to life in the form of this track, and that's awesome. I don't really have anything else to say about that other than that it's really cool. Yeah, so Kota Kira's new record is out now on Remission Entertainment. Is it available on like physical formats as well, or just digital?
Oh, you can get a physical CD. I will show y'all, but I think I haven't gotten mine yet, but some people have, so it's awesome.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's coming. It's on its way. Maybe.
Yeah. You can order.
Who knows at
yeah,
the post office right
CDs
now?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it'll be, if you order it, it'll be on your doorstep eventually, right? So yeah.
Yes. I think that's kind of how anyone has been buying anything on Bandcamp for a while now, especially like if you like buying stuff from Europe, it's like I've gotten stuff like, like maybe like 3 weeks after I've ordered it and been like kind of surprised that it came so fast. And then like stuff that has like randomly shown up like 3 months later. So, you know, uh, not saying that's happening with these CDs. Please order one. You will get it in a timely manner, I think. uh, Remission Entertainment, a wonderful label, does awesome
Oh yeah.
work. uh, if you are unfamiliar with them, please check out their Bandcamp as well. I have free downloads from all of Kota Kira's previous releases on their label, and I also have the Remission 2020 comp in my current selection of free Bandcamp giveaways. So hit me up in the DMs if you would like free music. And of course, feel free to support Kota Kira's new record. Um, I would love it. And you will too, probably. Hopefully. Definitely. All right. Okay. Yeah. And make sure to give Kota Kira a follow on social media to stay in touch with current news, shows, and streams and other fun stuff. And make sure to also give her a follow on Twitch. She's streaming here, I think, twice a month, you said? Like a full
Yeah,
moon
every
and
new
new
moon
moon?
and full moon. Yeah.
That's twice a month, right?
Yes.
Again, not excelling at science over here. All right. Okay, cool. And with that all said, I'm going to pick a winner from our Remission Entertainment giveaway tonight.
Woo.
Yeah, let's get a virtual drum roll or something. Oh, yes. Okay, we have a winner. It is Zeal Prism.
Ooh.
Congratulations. And give me a DM here on Twitch to claim your prize. Thanks to Zeal Prism, who has been a regular in the chat here for a long time now. I love it when regulars win things. You can follow my channel if you enjoyed this interview and you want to watch me talk with other people doing cool things. I will be doing that every Wednesday now. My guest for the show next Wednesday is Echo Barrel, a dark wave duo from Paris. They have been producing some of the year's best releases in cold wave, dark wave, and EBM. I'm really excited about what they're doing, and they're also going to be producing a live set for us on the next night's Strict Tempo. If you're familiar with my channel, I'm here weekly with live acts and guests from around the world in the realm of dark electronic music, primarily at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And it's a lot of fun. Kota Kira has been a guest on it before, and you can also catch her set archived on the Strict Tempo SoundCloud and Mixcloud pages. I'll post those in the chat. And then also the YouTube video is up as well on my YouTube channel under Vox Sinistra. So yay, thanks again for Kota Kira for being here tonight with us. This is where I struggle to multitask.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is great. I really appreciate what you do for the underground music. Like, I love how much you support good music. We need more people like you.
Yay. And soon we'll also have real life shows if you're in or around Seattle to announce, where you'll hear dark, unsy things that you'll enjoy. All right. With that being said, does anyone else have anything for us tonight? Anything from the chat? Anything from Kota Kira?
Yeah, I just want to say
Not.
again, thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for listening to the music, and I really appreciate all the support. Really, this is like a dream. We were just talking earlier. This is a dream come true. It really is for me. So appreciate all the support, everyone.
It was so fun. I was nervous to make this happen. It was like a tech feat to get Zoom integrated into OBS. I had no idea it would be too complicated, but we're here. We've figured it out, and I'm going to be back for more and more fun stuff on the channel coming soon. Okay, thanks again for tuning in, everyone. Big thanks to our guest, Kota Kira, tonight. And please do give her a follow and check out that new record again. We listened to the full thing, and I know you need more. So, yeah, thanks again. And we will go to our little outro slide. Make sure to stick around also, because I always finish my streams with a raid where we check out another awesome streamer live on Twitch. So stick around in the chat and you'll be delivered to a new location where there is awesome music playing. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Vox Sinistra, and this is Kota Kira.
Bye.